Hi guys, welcome to Colabiria. In this tutorial we are going to build a program about bulk details. We will show you how to declare primitive and non-primitive data type. We will show you how to create a constructor and assign parameter to the constructor. We will show you how to create a getter and setter method. And lastly, we will show you how to create a toString method. The purpose of this tutorial is to give you an overview of what we will do in our future project in this course. So if you're just getting started with us, you might want to subscribe to our channel and click down the notifications button to get notified whenever we post new video. Thank you, and let's get started. Before we begin, the first thing we want to do is to take these things from here, all of these comments, and bring it down here. Alright, now we have our empty template where we can write our code. Initially, what we did was we created our class and we named it bulk details. So this class now is not linked to any other class, it's just an empty class. Later on we will create our main class, but this is the subclass of this program. Alright, so now let's start to declare all of our primitive data type. So the first thing, we say private, and we say int index number. So we say private again, long, and we say total pages. So there are so many data types we need to use, so let me just go over it pretty fast. Alright, here we go. So these are the various kinds of data type we need, and here we have the various primitive data type and we have the non-primitive data type, which is the string. Okay, so now we have declared all of our data type, the primitive and the non-primitive data type. But before we proceed with our second task, which has to do with creating the constructor and assign parameter to the constructor, let's come here and see some things. In Java programming language, sometimes we have something called protected, and we sometimes say protected int, let's say price, and protected string, let's say name. Alright, here we go. Most cases, sometimes we find it hard to recognize the differences between the protected and that of the private data type. So in Java programming language, private modifiers specify that the numbers of a class can only be accessed in its own class, right? So while the protected modifier specify that the members of a class can only be accessed within the package. So that is saying all of the primitive data type we declare here by using the private or the protected. When you use the private, that means you can access this in another class, but if you use the protected, that means you can access this in the package, right? But as times goes by, we will try to use the protected. In this tutorial we will just use the private, so you can know the differences. Okay, alright, let's try to move these things from here. Alright, so after we're done with the private and the protected, the next thing we want to do is to generate this thing, our constructor. But using this compiler or this template, there are so many things you can do, and there are some tactics I will be showing you. So let's try to highlight all of these first, all of the declared primitive data type. If you don't have it, you can pause the tutorial and try to correct them. Okay, after that you try to highlight all of these things, and you right click, and then there will be a menu that will pop down, and then you can come here to the generate right here, and you click the generate. So using this pattern, you can do so many things here. You can generate a constructor, you can generate a getter and a setter, and you can also generate the toString method. So you don't have to write everything from scratch. So let's try to generate a constructor here. We come here, we click. All you need to do is that press Ctrl A if you are using Windows, or if you are using Mac, you press Command A, right? Alright. Or but perhaps you can use another functions to highlight all of these things. Here we go. So after you're done highlighting it, all you need to do is to click OK, and automatically all of your constructor has been, like, your constructor was generated by the compiler, and then you try to make it a little bit nice by putting it in a syntax format. Alright, here we go. Okay, so you cannot have it confused. These are the return data type of your constructor. Alright, the next thing now we want to do is we take this from here and we bring it back. When you're using the pattern of the compiler to generate your constructor or the various functions, sometimes the code don't go exact, it go with the format of the compiler, so you have to always take this from here and put it in the format it should be in. Otherwise you can leave it at that, it still works. Okay, alright, then we come back again, we click generate, and we come to our getter and setter, right? We click it, and we also Control A or Command A, and we highlight it, and we click OK. Very good. All of our getter and setter has been created automatically by the compiler, right? So we also come again, we take this guy from here and we carry them back where it was today. Basically, it's not compulsory you have to do it every time, but if you want your program to be in the format that you want, you can use it, right? Alright, so lastly again, you come here, you click generate, and you come to the toString, right? And automatically it's on the toString, and you click OK. Here we go. So we have our all of the things we need to generate. We have it. We have the declared data type. These are the declared data type. You can see it, the primitive and non-primitive data type. And then we have our toString method being generated. We also have our getter and setter for this class. And lastly, we have our constructor. This is the constructor, and these are the return data of the constructor. Everything within the constructor here is the parameter. We refer to it as a parameter, right? So you can see, using this compiler, you can do so many things, right? Or using the pattern, you can do so many things. So this is how you can escape the writing of the code. But since we are teaching this tutorial from the basics, we will write everything from scratch. So I will try to quit everything again so that we can write it from scratch. Alright, thank you, and let's continue. So let's come here and we try to quit everything. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, is it right? Okay, here we go. Very good. So the first thing we did was to declare all of our primitive data type. We don't want to use the pattern of the compiler to generate all of what we want for us, so we will write everything from scratch. By doing that, you can come here, and to write your constructor or to create your constructor, you need the name of the class. So first we come here, we say public. Let's come down one step. Alright, here we go. We say public, and what's the name of this class? Is called book details, right? We say book details, and we put our bracket. Now, in order to create the parameters, you have to call the various data type that you are declared. So the first one on our list here is the private int. So we call the int, which is the data type. The long is the data type. The double is the data type, right? So we come here, we say int, and what we have for int, we have book index. The next thing on our list is we got long, total pages, and we also have double, which is the book price. So if you are on the right format, once you put a data type, like now we put a double data type, and we on the right format, once you start it, and you will see the information for the double data type will be generated, right? So you see everything is generated. It also go with the other data type. Once you on the right format, let's say now string, you will see all of the information for the string will be generated. So you see, let's say book name. So these are the information defined by the string. So you can see here book name, book type, and the published year. So let's try to use the pattern and do everything. Alright, here we go. So I'm done creating all of the parameters for the constructor. this is the constructor, and all of the informations in the constructor are called parameters, so you can see them. And these are the return data type for the parameter, and the declared data type we got here, all of the data type we declare. All right, so you can see the format. This format is much better. That's why I don't like to use the compiler, but to write it from scratch. All right, here we go. Another thing is that once we done creating the we declare the primitive and the non-primitive data type, we create the constructor and we assign the various parameter within the constructor. The next thing we want to do is we have to create a getter and setter. So let's come here and we paste it here. All right, here we go. So let's try to create our getter and the setter. Very good. So you can see here there is no error. It should be 2 braces. Alright, so in order to create the getter and the setter, you can also follow the same pattern by using the compiler, or you can come here and you start to write it from scratch. The first thing you say public, and you call the data type, right? So let's say public string, and we say get. So once you say public string and you say get, all of the information that falls within the string data type will pop up, right? So the first thing we will do is to get the name, and we say return let's say book name, right? So you see it's correct. So whenever it is correct, you will see it in the format that is purple. So you can see here the data type has been highlighted. So that is, we have called this data type, right? The declared data type for the book name. It also works for other. So we got a getter for the book name. So let's do the setter for the book name. You say public, and we say void, we say set. So once you say public void, you say set, all of the things that you should apply will pop up. So we say set name, and then we say string, which is the data type. We call the data type, and we say book name. That is the parameter now, the information in the constructor. So book name is this one. Alright, so this is the information we are calling now book name, and we put our curly brace. We say this dot book name, right? This the book name equal book name. Here we go. So you see we try to access it. So whenever you do it for the setter, you will also see it is white color. That means you are in the right format, right? So this is how to do for the getter and the setter, and you can apply all of the same thing for the various primitive data type. So we did for the book name, you can also do for the rest by following the same format. Okay, all right, here we go. Alright, here we go. So we have all of the informations. I tried to use my own pattern, so you can see here. So the first one, we will have the book index, and we also have all of the information, the setter for the book index, the getter for the total price, the pages, the numbers of pages rather, and the setter for the numbers of pages, and we have the price, and we also have the setter for the price, and every other thing, the wall the book will be on, the setter, and so forth. So you can see, let's try to take it from the start so you can see the code very clear. Alright. All of the data type we use them. Alright, so how do you know that you have not used on the data type, right? Sometimes you have an oversight, right? So in that you will see that this data type is not highlighted. It will be like maybe we have grade. Let's use some other thing. Let's say pages. Let's take the S from here, right? So you see now it is in gray. That is, we have not used this. It is not highlighted. But if you put a data that the correct spelling, because we have already used it, so you will see it in your purple format. That is good. We have already called it, right? Okay, let's come down here and try to see. So the last thing we want to do for this subclass is to build our toString method. So let's take this comment from here and we'll come we paste it here. Alright, here we go. So in order to build a toString method is not like very hard or not very complex as compared to the rest. The first thing you want to do is you say public first. You say public and you say string, public string, let's say toString. Very good. And we put our bracket, we put our curly brace. So after you're done writing this, the next thing you want to do is to return all of the data type, right? So let's come, we say return. Okay, so once you try to return it now, first you will write a comment for which it will be displayed in. We say book name. What is that? Okay, book name, and we call it book name. Here we go, you see. So that's the first thing, and with the next thing we say book index number. So don't make it too long. Book index number, and we call the book index number. Book index. Very good. So you will use the pattern for the rest. Okay, this is how to build a toString method. Alright, here we go. So we're done with our toString method, and that is what I like to use, like from writing it from scratch, because you can follow the format. So here you have the /n. The compiler cannot generate the /n for you, which is the next line. Alright, so you can see this is the toString method. Okay, so let's take it from the start so we can go over it before we create our main class. Let's take it from the start. The first thing is we created our class and we named it book details, and we declare all of the various kinds of data type. So you can see here the primitive and the non-primitive data type. Alright, we created our constructor, and all of the informations here, they are the parameters of the constructor, and we try to return them. So these are the informations we returned from the constructor. The next thing we did was we create our getter and setter. Okay, and lastly we built our toString method. So this is the toString method, and this is all for this subclass. The next thing now we're coming to do is to go and create our main class. For this program. So I will stop the tutorial here, and we will continue in our next tutorial where we will create our main class for this program, for this book details. In our next tutorial we will create our main class and apply all of the functions. Okay, alright, let's go over it again. Okay,